Welcome back, guys, to another episode of Strut the Hustle. Today we have Raven Irabor. Hey, Raven.
Mhm.
Hey, thank you for joining us here on Strut the Hustle.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Excited to be here.
No problem at all. For those of you who don't know, Raven is actually the founder of Ray Studios, and she's a director. So we're gonna talk all about, her career and how she got to where she got to be, and hopefully inspire some of you who are looking to get into that field as well.
Amazing. Yeah, let's get into
Yes.
it.
So for those of you who don't know, Ray Studios is a creative studio in New York City and LA. So can you talk a little bit about Ray Studios, how you came up with that? What was that process like?
Yeah, Ray Studios is essentially an extension of my personal brand. So I define myself as a Pan-African image maker and curator working across fashion, art, media, and film. And for the last 10 years, I've been working in the media and advertising industry and realizing that in order to really get I guess the bigger jobs, bigger clients, instead of you being hired as a freelancer, so as a freelance, I work traditionally as a producer in the corporate space. So instead of being hired as a freelance producer or freelance creative director or whatever else have you, when you have your own studio, whether it's or business, whether it's a studio or a production company or an agency, you get bigger clients, you get bigger budgets, and you're able to bring on a team. And so the idea was, if people are hiring me for my craft and my artistry and my eye, if I extend that and create a business such as Ray Studios, then again, it's an extension of me. I can also bring on a team of other creatives, so I consider it like a multidisciplinary studio because I work across not only media but art as well. So a lot of people that I like to work with in terms of my team are multidisciplinary artists because I think that especially as Black people is really important. Yeah, so being a multidisciplinary artist, especially within the Black community, is really important. So my creative studio, we work with other multidisciplinary artists who's interested in fashion, art, media, and film, and social justice and social impact to work with clients within that space and also within the cultural space to create some like beautiful visuals, whether it's video, photography, art curation, and cultural programming.
So you have a film that came out called She Island, and it actually showed at the Caribbean Film Festival. So congratulations to you on that. Can you talk a little bit about the film and, why do you feel it was important to make that film and what was that process like making that project?
Yeah, I think that film, I guess the process again is like an extension of my personal brand and things that are important to me, which is creating work that amplifies and unifies African diaspora. I am first generation American. My mom is from Trinidad and my dad's from Nigeria. So I wanted to make a film that really spoke to the essence or explored, I would say that's a better word, explored the essence of Caribbean womanhood. I grew up around a lot of Caribbean women when I was in college. I went to Syracuse. I was on a Caribbean dance scene called Calabash all 4 years. So a lot of my understanding of like my womanhood comes from my Caribbean side. So I really wanted to not only for myself, but for other Caribbean women across the Caribbean diaspora, whether you are born and raised in the Caribbean or you are a first gen like myself living in America or Canada or the UK, having um, and just trying to understand who you are as a Caribbean woman. This is kind of what this film was sparked by. So it's a folklore film. I'm more of a conceptual artist, so a lot of my work is non-narrative. But this was like my first kind of attempt into the narrative space that's still in my own personal style, which has, instead it's very conceptual, it's very experimental, has a lot of dance, it's poetic, it's entirely voiceover. And I'm really into like magical realism and surrealism. So we have those elements in the film. And the plot essentially is a mother and daughter is guided by a folkloric character in the Caribbean called La Bless. This character is predominantly in islands that were colonized by the French. Um, and we kind of see her as this like quintessential essence of Caribbean womanhood because her story is of hybridity. It's a merging of African spirituality, European Christian fears of the female body, and Caribbean culture is a hybrid culture. It's a mix of African, European, and Native Indigenous and East Asian culture. Um, So we use her as this quintessential essence of Caribbean womanhood, and she guides a mother and daughter as they go on this journey to break this curse that was casted by Ouida, the forgetting tree. That character is inspired by the tree of forgetfulness in Ouida, Benin, where the colonizers forced the enslaved Africans to walk around 7 or 9 times, depending on your gender. And the idea was, once you walk around this tree before coming to the New World, so whether you came to America, South America, or the Caribbean, that you would forget your identity and your culture and your customs before coming to the Western world. So similarly, the curse that's casted on this island causes the women on the island to forget themselves, their cultures, and their identities. So it puts into question what happens to Caribbean culture if women, who I'm positioning as the kind of the gatekeepers and the community scribes of the culture. So the women forget who they are, what happens to Caribbean culture. So Lodger Bliss takes the mother and daughter on this journey to help figure out how they can break the curse that's casted on the island. And once the curse is lifted, there's a carnival celebration to celebrate Caribbean womanhood and liberation and all the things. So yeah, that's what the film's about. I'm really excited that it got into the Caribbean Festival out here because we shot it in Trinidad, so it feels very full circle and it feels just like um my goal is to really try to like bring more visibility to Caribbean filmmaking and Caribbean art, and do what I can as someone who is an American, has access to, certain things to bring more visibility to that space. And like I said, it's just an extension of who I am as an artist and creative. Because I have Ray Studios, again, it's something that can live under Ray Studios. So going back to the business side of things, it's not just like Raven did this, which it is, but it's also part of Ray Studios and something that I have on my portfolio to be able to also not only get jobs as a director, but also show clients that like I am a cultural storyteller, and I can bring this sort of cultural storytelling for you and your brand.
What was that process like getting your film like accepted into the Caribbean Film Festival? That's pretty huge. So can you walk us through that?
So I worked with a film festival strategist. It has a company to like help filmmakers like
Yeah.
kind of know the play by play of getting into a film festival. I don't think that is necessary to pay for. I'm sure there's a lot of free information. But I would say for anyone who's trying to get themselves into a film festival, I think the most important thing is like knowing what your goal is for the film festivals. The film festival circuit, some festivals are like monetary awards. Some people care about just getting laurels and getting like acclamations. Some people care about the networking and getting distribution. So based on your goals are and what you care about the most is what will impact the film festivals that you decide to apply to. I wish if I did it all over again, I would have just waited for my film to be completely finished before applying to film festivals. They do say that you can apply to film festivals with it at a like fine cut or whatever, but I think it's just better and like easier on the brain to just get the film done. So like you don't have to worry about getting it completed by a certain deadline because it's already done. And then most film festivals are on Film Freeway, so you just submit. They do cost money, so it's a thing to keep in mind from a budgetary perspective. On average, they're like between $50 to $70. Um, and yeah, submit, you write like a cover letter, kind of do what you can do from a networking perspective to get people to know who you are. If you are making a short film, I've been told the shorter the better. So I actually had to re-edit my film to make it shorter to get into a film festival. So my film is 16 minutes long. It was originally 20 minutes long. So if you have a short film, that's a strategy tip that I got from my strategist. The shorter the better because they're trying to fit a lot of films within a slot. So if your film is long, it has to be like incredible, perfect, because that's to justify taking the spot of like four other films.
What advice do you have for women who are looking to be in your shoes, maybe get, a film debuted in a festival, or maybe they're just looking to get into being a director or just create more projects? What is your advice for women who are looking to do that?
Yeah, I would say for women who are trying to be directors or artists, I think it's really important to take time to figure out what your visual style is, what makes you unique, what are you drawn to, understanding visual language. And I think that works across any visual medium, whether you're a director, creative director, photographer, designer, all the things, because what people are going to you for is for your unique perspective. And that's something that does take time. So I wouldn't say like, rush in it and like within a year you're gonna know. Like I think pay attention to the things that you pay attention to. Like if you tend to like you realize a lot of your work has like pinks and blues and a lot of your work is like very like action based or you're really into like, telling international stories or like you just pay attention to yourself. So that you know how to best position yourself for, especially if you want to work with brands. And obviously, there's different types of directing, like filmmaking, television, commercial directing, editorial kind of content directing. So also figuring out your niche. Doesn't mean you have to stick to a niche because I do not stick to a niche, but it also helps you brand and position yourself because that's how you get the job. So knowing what your visual style is and understanding your visual language, and then knowing what like your niche is. So if you want to do commercial, but you want to do fashion and beauty commercial, or you want to do sportswear, or you want to do, I don't know, whatever else your niche is that's in the commercial space because then your portfolio should reflect that so that if you want to do a campaign with Nike, but everything you're doing is about hair and makeup, then Nike's not gonna call you. So yeah.
Well, thank you so much for coming on here and Strut the Hustle. Where can people tune in to try to, watch your film if they're not able to see your film in the festival?
The film is not out yet for the public, but I am planning on doing different screenings in the US, starting in New York. Then we'll go to, I don't know if this will be the exact order, but New York, LA. I want to do it in Miami, Atlanta, and then Toronto. So yeah, you can follow me on Instagram. My Instagram is Raven Charisse. That's RavenCherisse. Or you can follow the She Island Instagram page to find out more specifically about the film. And that is She Island underscore film. So yeah, so stay tuned. We may be coming to a city near you. And hopefully we get some distribution so that will be online, whether it's on Nowness, Vimeo, HBO Max, who knows. But that is the goal. That is my goal, distribution.
Alrighty, thank you so much, Raven.
Thank you.